You're jumping into CKCU programming through our audio archive, supported by you, the listener.
The exact details for your house. Don't forget to stock up on gas and food, they say. Niagara Falls declared a state of emergency, so don't go there. You've probably heard that as well. If you're also bored, you can check out the program schedule at ckcufm.com. You can listen to eight years worth of various shows. They're all there since 2015. Stay tuned for Hans coming up next with literary news. Until next week, have a good day, have a good week. Bye for now.
Every dollar counts to keep up with the bills or to help with the cost of raising a family. A little bit extra can make a difference. You might be eligible for benefits and credits like the Canada Workers Benefit, the Canada Child Benefit, the Disability Tax Credit, and the GST-HST credit. You may also be able to get your taxes done for free. Find out if you qualify. Visit canada.ca/everydollarcounts for more information. A message from the Government of Canada.
This is CKCU Literary News.
At FM 93.1, the campus-based community radio station of Carleton University, I am Hans Ruprecht, having the privilege and the honor to welcome Raymond Samuels, who is the coordinator of the Ottawa International Food and Book Expo of this year. Raymond Samuels, a great pleasure having you again on our show.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure and honor to be on your show, Hans.
Well, you know, I still remember we met a couple of years ago when then on a similar event.
Mm-hmm.
And today we have a very interesting, from our point of view, contribution to welcome and to honor to the Ottawa International Food and Book Expo, namely the very impressive presence of Mexican writers. I mean, this is absolutely astonishing that you personally, in cooperation with the Mexican embassy, were successful in bringing to town a prestigious selection of Mexican writers. But please, Raymond Samuels, tell us a little bit about this event, namely the Ottawa International Food Book Expo.
Awesome. Well, it's definitely a pleasure to talk to you about our event, the Ottawa International Food and Book Expo. It's our 5th anniversary year this year. It's our great event we're having at the Horticulture Building at Lansdowne Park. Takes place April 27th and the 28th. That's on a weekend there, end of April. It's a festive event. We bring together amazing authors, publishers, food vendors. We're basically bring together the best of international cuisine in the city, with an emphasis this year on Latin American cuisine and a variety of other different types of cuisine as well, including South Asian and different selected cuisine from around the world, and great speakers and music as well. So we're trying to be a very eclectic festive event, so I invite everybody who's interested in great books, great food, want to check out authors, some great panel discussions to come on down, you know, and because this is going to be a very engaging event to check out all kinds of different food, be introduced to some great places in the city, and pay homage to some fabulous authors with this emphasis this year of support from the Mexican Embassy to bring together some amazing Mexican authors.
And give us a date again, please.
April the 27th and 28th, which is a Saturday and a Sunday, right at the end of April.
And early from 9 o'clock, I guess?
Yeah, around like 9:30 it starts around, and then it goes all the way until 9 p.m. On Saturday. We have some swing dancing in the evening.
Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, we're very eclectic, and on Sunday we're going to be having bachata and some other merengue and a little bit of salsa as well, dancing on Sunday evening.
Well, my personal kind of happy experience and many recollections really put together food and reading, eating and reading, books and food. What is your take at this kind of combination, if not to the origin of the Ottawa International Food and Book Expo? Food and literature, how does it go?
Well, I'm a bit of a foodie at heart myself. I like to explore great food, but for me, the importance of food is that, when I oftentimes would watch something on a TV or program and somebody's going to a new culture, they introduce you to their culture through food, the breaking of bread, the sort of joining of spirits through food. So for me, the food provides automatically a festive backdrop for people to come together, experience each other as far as their different cultures in a very celebratory, festive manner. And when it's coupled with books provide, so we have a sort of a charitable focus on books and literacy as being vital to our democracy and creativity on our sort of artistic side as human beings. So when we put it together, we have an environment where we have the books providing that sort of engaging, sort of a social, intellectual backdrop of engaging the mind, and the food becomes a backdrop for engaging ourselves in terms of food and what we eat. So it's like a full body experience we're providing through the expo, as well as coupled with the music and the great panel discussions we're having. So we want to make it a full experience for people coming out there and wanting to basically come to an event which is a bit unique, but is really going to engage their mind, body, and soul in a very positive way that brings the community together.
I can only underscore what you just said, namely that there is, freedom. Mm-hmm. It is a free choice of food, mm-hmm. and as you just referred to, democratic privilege we have as citizens to choose the books we want to read, right? Mm-hmm. And to publish books of all kinds of origins and nature and interests. But this time it is Mexico. Mm-hmm. Mexico that brings in an amazing collection of authors. How did you achieve that? Did you just call them, "Hello, Mr. Ambassador, what can you do for us?" How did it work out, if I may ask?
Definitely. Well, we like Mexico is like Canada is second to the United States as far as the immigration of people from Mexico. So we just sort of reached out to them because we were interested in engaging the embassy in terms of, the growing, Latin American, particularly the Mexican population in Ottawa. Because when I learned Spanish in high school, was definitely less Latin American population in Canada. Now is definitely growing. So we reached out to them about the idea of bringing them into the event, and they were very hospitable and supportive of the Embassy of Mexico, which we thank for their support. And we kind of worked together to bring together the Mexican authors to the event, and that's where we're basically celebrating the support for the Mexican Embassy. And, so basically a very engaging experience where we not only have the authors, but we have a selection of the best Mexican food in Ottawa as well. We went out of our way to look and research what are the most popular, best food in the city. So when you're coming to the event, you're not only checking out, some great Mexican authors, but you're going to be checking out some great Mexican food as well.
Wow, that is magnificent. I can't hardly wait to select my preferred Mexican restaurants. I'm very fond of Mexican culture because I've lived in Mexico, and I will certainly enjoy discovering more of La Presencia Mexicana in Canada. Let's have a look at the selection of authors.
Awesome. Well, I have a bit of a short list here of some of the great authors we're having who are Mexican background. We have coming Antolina Ortiz, who is quite a famous Mexican author. She's actually coming in from Montreal. She's well written. Dalia Mendoza. We also have Martin Masuquet, Alexa Barrera, Oye Meja Gonzalo, Angel Mota, and David Vioret Bustos. So those are some of the authors we have featured who are of a Mexican background.
Yes, and some of them are already in Canada, as you just mentioned, right?
Yes. So on Tolina, for example, she is based in Montreal, and she definitely well versed and well written, and we are, interviewing all the authors and making sure that we publish their interview so that anybody interested in checking out our event can have a preview of the Mexican authors who are going to be at the event.
Well, let's have a look, for instance, at Martin Macucet Garcia. What we can find here, well, from the web page, he is the author of The French Doctor. C'était le Docteur Français is the original title. The Secret of the French Doctor. Amazing. I'm just going through the web page announcement here, and there are even interviews with the author here. That's amazing. I will probably use some of them to cut it in our broadcast. Oh, this is amazing material. Have you prepared that material? No?
It was the material you have on the website. These is compiled courtesy of the Mexican Embassy. We just basically made sure it was presented in a professional way, in a compelling way, but they brought together the content for the website there in terms of the documented bios and the book covers and all the. But we also conducted an interview, but we sort of brought it together. But but it was thanks to the embassy, their event partnership, they kind of brought together the content that you see on Ottawa Expo.ca.
Yes. Well, let's look at Dalia Mendoza. Let's see. She is the author of, now right away in English translation, The Lightness of the Soul, right? La Levedad del Alma is the original Mexican title. And it's interesting. She describes her book in terms of dealing with human fragility as manifested in the face of changes and subtle details and existential conflicts. So we're going to hear from her some very contemporary themes and topics, probably not only relevant to Mexican readers, but to all of us, right? Well, it's interesting when we could go through the list of selected authors. Is there something in your overall understanding of the Food and Book Expo of a very international nature? So you call it the international because it's authors from different countries, different backgrounds. But in fact, whatever you offer in terms of food and then readings, it appeals to all of us, right? Regardless. And this is Canada. Right? This is what we are. You know? We are from all kinds of horizons and backgrounds and cultures and languages and belief systems and creeds and so forth. So how do you personally see the diversity and the richness of this year's exhibition in terms of this international spread? Focusing on Mexico, of course, but also are there other dimensions of that nature? So it's quite international, as you mentioned. We have participation from Syria, South Asia, different parts of the Caribbean. We have authors coming from the United States, participation from Africa. They are all coming with books?
Well, books and food. Most people are some people are coming from outside of Canada, but most people are from Canada and stuff like that. But they're coming both with books and with food. Some of them, but mostly books in terms of the authors. But the South Asian component, for example, they are sort of basically brought together the best, top restaurant vendors as far as South Asian and some of the other cuisine in Ottawa, Syrian and different foods. So that's what we're sort of brought together, because we want to make sure when people come to the event, they are getting the best of. They're not just getting a random selection of different vendors. We actually purposely bring together the vendors based upon the quality of their food, as opposed to random vendors and stuff like that. That's sort of our philosophy behind the Expo.
Fascinating. I'm so happy to see that it's growing in that direction. The last time I attended the Expo, I had the impression it was primarily local, a little local.
Yeah.
Sorry to say this.
Yeah.
It was kind of, it was interesting, but the international dimension wasn't that obvious.
Yeah.
But if you are telling us that food and literature and culture from countries you have just mentioned, from Africa, from the Middle East, from Southeast Asia, are now contributing to that event. It really puts Ottawa as the host of this international event on the map. We are at the international stage with that exhibition. It's interesting. We just had Le Salon du Livre de l'Outaouais, which is a major event for the Ottawa region, francophones, but for Quebec and Canada at large. Now, with this event, we are at a different international dimension, as you just referred to. Is it changing on a yearly basis that you have emphasis? For instance, this year is the Mexican, right? It could be next year Cuba, or it could be I don't know. So how do, as a coordinator, general coordinator, with an amazing job, how do you tailor this content in accordance with our expectation? How do you do it?
Well, basically, we do it from, keeping aware of the evolution of the city, what sort of groups and types of food and authors and culture, what's going on in the city, and trying to encapsulate that in a way which reflects the best of the various changing food and literary scene in Ottawa. So basically that's what we do. So when we start off, as you mentioned, we were much more sort of a local focus. We try to focus on sort of being a local event for self-published writers in Ottawa. But since that time, we evolved into a expo that has much more of both a Canadian and international dimension to it, which is much more celebratory of our sort of multicultural identity. And we also have, for example, as a part of our sort of Canadian identity in the event, we also have a cabana souk, maple sugar shack, for the 2 days as well, which is part of our of francophone component to the show as well.
How nice! So you feed in local traditions with the overall picture of the international food and book exhibition. I must say it is really an event of growing importance, fitting very well into the national fabric of what we are, And I'm curious to hear from you a little bit more about the cultural, let's say, music programs and the other events going with the exhibition. You mentioned there were music.
Yeah. So basically, the event kicks off Saturday, April 27th. We kick off with an extensive panel discussion on the theme of the elusiveness of a just society in Canada. Basically, I got this idea because back in 1968, as you probably are aware, then Pierre Elliott Trudeau in the Liberal Convention talked about his goal of making Canada a just society, being bilingual and a society of many different cultures. And so we wanted to have a panel discussion to talk about the theme of the just society in the context of poverty, social justice, growing economic disparity, because, like many people in Ottawa, I witnessed more people homelessness and more sort of economic alienation and disintegration. So we're having a panel discussion to kick things off 10 to 12, where we have about 7 different panelists who are very sort of illustrious, ranging from different points of view. We have people, for example, like Reverend Alexa Gilmore, who was very active in the United Church of Canada community in terms of talking about racial and social justice. On the one side, we have Adrian Harewood, former CBC anchor. Yeah. He's going to be on the panel as well. We have Angela McEwen, who's an economist for QP. We have, even on the more conservative side, we have Maxime Bernier. He's going to be there representing.
He accepted.
He's going to be there representing the conservative perspective.
Populist.
Populist. Yeah, and we have somebody there from the youth side as well. And so it's going to be a very sort of eclectic. So that's going to be kicking off a whole very illustrious sort of a panel discussion we have. And then after that we also have a singles professional focus as well. So we're going to have, after 12 o'clock, we're going to have a panel discussion of matchmakers. We're going to talk about dating after the pandemic. So we have Tehran Shea coming in from Toronto. She's going to be talking about that as well. And we have some illustrious panel of 3 ladies who are experienced as far as dating coaches and matchmakers. So they're going to be coming in at 12:30, and then we have another panel taking place that's going to be talking about how to be healthy, having a healthy lifestyle and stuff like this. An important topic after the pandemic. And we have another planned panel coming in after that, which is going to talk about sort of real estate and how to invest. And what to do and what not to do as far as renovations to your home. And then after that, we're going to be having the Mexican authors. They're going to be having a sort of a discussion about the creative process in writing. And then after that, we're going to be having a swing dancing later in the evening. And then we start things off backing in the 28th with another panel discussion as well. And we're going to be having the Mexican authors, their time to present their books is going to be around noontime, 12:30 to 2 p.m. is their time the Mexican authors are going to be presenting. And we anticipate also having a Mexican performance on stage as well, just before the authors present. And bachata coming in the evening, bachata and some salsa as well.
Lovely.
Yes, very eclectic.
Yeah, and I can only congratulate you for the choice of themes and topics. It's very topical. It's really what is really on the front burner of people's minds and concerns nowadays. You mentioned all that, and I think this is what culture and literature in a way, and music and free getting together of people in a free society should do. And this is democracy. This is the cultural component of a society that is moving forward, not looking back at old kind of standards, but looking forward at things which ought to be discovered. What are your personal expectations as to this year's event, as to this year's Expo? If I may ask Raymond Samuels, the general coordinator.
Well, our expectations as far as the event have been a tremendous experience for all the exhibitors, the panelists, as well as the visitors who come to the event. We wanted the event to be engaging, for people to see the event as inspiring the mind, inspiring the spirit, and really opening their mind to the selection of diversity of food choices, and the tremendous diversity that represents us as Canadians and as a city in Ottawa, which celebrates our multiculturalism and our diversity and us being both francophones, anglophones, and people of all multilingual diversity. So we have an expectation of having as many people coming there as possible. Our target this year as far as attendance is that we're seeking, our goal is 10,000 people as far as visitors over the 2 days. And then the theme of democracy and free speech, we actually have Dr. Julie Ponese. She's coming in on Sunday, being part of a panel talking about free speech, ethics, and democracy that kicks off on Sunday.
Amazing. Yeah. That's so important.
Yeah.
Excellent. Now, look, I will certainly be attending several events, and I would be all too happy to interview particularly Mexican authors. The list is so impressive. I'm just looking again at our choice here, which you emphasized already. There is, for instance, there's Alexia Barrera. Her bio. She is still a very young author. And her book title is, let me just go through this. Actually, it's a book for young people. Mama y Yo is the title. So, and well, in other words, there's also then, it just gives me the idea, to ask to what extent, of course, it's the food. Young people will be attracted by your offerings, by the entire spectrum of events at the Ottawa International Food and Book Expo. What is available for young people?
Young people, as far as how young? Kids or?
Yeah, kids. I mean, yeah. What is it? What do you do for kids?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
we're all young.
Oh, okay. We're all young. That's right. So as far as kids and stuff like that, we have bringing together, well, the Maple Sugar Shack.
That's right.
That's definitely, we have for a fun event for kids. That sort of starts off the morning there. The traditional French-Canadian cuisine. So that's a very children-friendly event. We try to make the whole event children-friendly as far as the ticket prices and stuff like that. Children come in for free. So anybody who's...
Is that right?
Yes,
okay.
Children for free. So we want to make it...
What is the ticket for?
The regular ticket for the day is like $10. And you get to check out everything. And you get a 2-day pass. That's like about $17 for like a 2-day pass. And but for kids it's like completely free and stuff. So parents who have young families or older, you don't have to worry about paying for your kids and stuff like that.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Who's subsidizing it? This is the city. Or?
Well, actually, all our event is entirely the result of the exhibitors. We're not getting any money from the city or any government. Unlike pretty much most, if not all, other festivals in Ottawa, we're not subsidized by the government. Yeah, so that makes it so we have to be very sort of meticulous in how we handle our money. But yeah, we're very sort of unique in that way as far.
But that gives you the independence of mind and initiative and programming.
No, that's exactly.
And nobody can tell you must do this or that. Even if the embassy have something to offer, they do it as their contribution, and that's it.
So everything is kind of independent spirit that way.
Well, Raymond Samuels, I am delighted to announce this event already at this time of month, and I'm looking forward to be at the Ottawa International Food and Book Expo. And for now, I thank you very, very much for your time and that you could come and talk to us, to our listeners at CKCU FM 93.1.
Awesome. Thank you very much for having us, Hans.
Bye-bye, Raymond.
Thank you.
That was CKCU Literary News, brought to you by the community-based campus radio of Carleton University in Ottawa, Canada. We can be heard worldwide. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter under CKCU Lit News in one word. Thanks for listening.
And now, through the magic of science, CKCU is live on 93.1 megahertz using the frequency modulation spectrum. Yes, listeners, CKCU is a miracle of the modern age, broadcasting through our satellite uplink deep in void of space to our friends on the lunar and Martian colonies. Stay tuned to CKCU, the voice of tomorrow, brought to you by the best technology that the world of science can provide.
This is CKCU 93.1 FM in the nation's capital.
From CKCU 93.1 FM, this is Easier Said Than Done. Easier Said Than Done is a show made by two self-proclaimed creativity novices. We're your hosts, Natalie Hall
and Emily Cowan,
and we're on the pursuit to uncover the practices, skills, and joys of creativity in all its many forms, some of which we don't even know exist yet.
This is episode 6.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Easier Said Than Done. We took a little break last week and we missed you. We were both sick, but I think we're feeling better. How are you feeling, Emily?
I'm feeling good. It's reading week now, and I'm excited to get back into the swing of things, and I think that this episode is the perfect way to do that. How are you feeling?
I feel that last week was a much needed break. I mean, we were obviously feeling tired and our bodies were sick and responding to that, but I missed producing the show, and I was so excited to play this episode, and now we get to. Do you want to tell the listeners what we're doing today?
So today we're wrapping up our little 3-episode series on printing. Today we have an interview with long-term arts organizer David Solnit.
I didn't see how selling a painting to a person with some wealth to hang over their couch was going to change things in my community or the world.
David is an artist and activist located in the Bay Area. He's been involved in activism for over 30 years, and in 1999 he was part of a huge anti-World Trade Organization protest in Seattle. He was also at Standing Rock and more recently